You know, the biggest, and now I'm gonna fucking say it because, Disneyland has been waiting for this for a very long time. Like, I didn't have one for them to do the one. I'm not being reborn in the genetic schools of the UN. I've been holding on for a long time. As a crab, there's a candle in the wind with the housewife, and of course the flyings that you can't get to because those were the space breaks and the 92, 92 and above for the barons and the runnings. I'm still alive. 85, 85 that many times. Above the library. No, that many times at the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and now wrecked. Of course, this don't exist in Plimpton time of the Delphi number, which unfortunately had the nails and the white hairs ages ago around the world and even within the CIA. I've been trying to explain to you that. I've been trying to explain to you that the work was elsewhere. I've been trying to explain to you that you lost intel by smashing the original Ghost headed on the Ghost lines. Now, most people will say, the Hague, the Bureau de Veritas, and the additional Roman Tribunal bring back in intelligence Disneyland for Plimpton time to let you know that you're assholes and cause celebra around the world. Now, what really touched me, and this is something that I am going to remember for the rest of my short-lived existence, was the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods, including the Nigerian in Rome, at Casa Verde. Now, wow, Casa Verde, I went somewhere else, hang out. I was in Rome for 3 years almost, so before coming back here. It's a year and a half I'm back in San Fran. And that lady said, man, I'm taking pills not to get pregnant. And she's a black lady, Nigerian. And she was working at a restaurant in central Rome. I was just staying at a place, they were getting our place. And she looks at me and she says, I'm 55. I got pregnant at 50 and 52. I looked at her like, huh? Even 55? I looked at her and says, per favore. She says, did you get what I said? I said, yes. She said, actually, literally. I said, no, signora, per favore. So this is the situation, colloquially speaking, you retarded animals. You see, they brought back Scotland film. What were they showing? They're showing it's the bestest, the easiest, and the best for them to stay in Rome because the Mediterranean is the Mediterranean. You got the old Saudi Arabia, Turk, you got Russia, you got Western Europe, you got the Italians, you got the UN, you got Woolwich, okay? And this thing about Jersey and envy, yeah. That's not what they're speaking about. They're speaking about stupidity at its best. The Barilla ex-mayor, the wife of Barilla, it's like 98 or something. I don't care how corrupt he is. But the guy said the truth. The cliche, better to lose with the most intelligent forever and ever than to fucking win with the stupids. But I don't like high school shit. So that's what they were saying. I liked the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods. Whether it was London, the Sleepers, or Rome, or Moscow, Warsaw Internationals, Cairo, or Saudi Arabia. Because that tells me they remembered me. They just said, oh my goodness, the phenomenon became a phoenix. They didn't think about the genetics after they smashed my head in on those lines. That tells me that the beggars of the world know this shit. Around the capital cities on microlis and electrocrolis. While I, of course, was, at that time, I wasn't thinking, it was more than thinking. Now I'm thinking of connected dots globals is one thing for me. I had to do it. In 80 countries and 20 states, not that I worked in all of those, but you know what I'm saying. They were talking about the barons. They say the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Iraq. So I went to the usual agencies, like I always do, for the parents. Now, considering that you even sent psychos against me, against Disneyland, we had the Roman Tribunal prepared for that. Of course, abusing Disneyland, we thought that eventually would do it once her crabby area would have Went out on her housewife. She was already fragile to start with. But she had that in her still. And with some time, especially on the literature crawlies, they took you see who they were. You could say Fresno, yeah, that they're the Dolores Shelter, but why are they in Frisco? That was high school. Now, considering that they are what they call the extras of the extras of the extras, meaning the haters, the retards, the punks, already in federal prison. Tom and Jerry Darrell, the local county, everyone's scared of him. So don't start with the reputation of Fresno. The problem with Tom and Jerry Darrell is, and his buddies and friends and wingmen and girlfriend, is that they're not what they claim they are. That's their problem. That's really the problem of the America. That's the US for you. They allowed such cunt-faced animals to hurt the family. The girlfriends in the nursing homes and everything. So if you're speaking about modern revolutions with the hanging benches of Laura Quintas and Ali Direct, with all those flyings behind and above the library, 92 and 92 and above, no one says anything to that, that's okay. 85, that many runnings of that girl above the library, and then the hits on the head, on the side, and then this one coming out like this, like Mademoiselle Disney. Of course I'm called celebra. It depends what the intel did. Intanto, even the Germans are speaking about airspace. So when Germany says that she broke airspace, and they're my enemies, well, enemies. I never had a problem with the Germans. Maybe the Polish did, maybe the Jews did, again, personal experiences. But the Germans made it obvious, even in Berlin, you understand? So when they say that is now Disneyland, you smash your head in on the ghost lines, you're often thinking of Lincolnstein, and you're fucking called celebra. Are you going to side with the Nazi skins? I almost did, quite frankly. I almost did go Thierhoff and Lincolnstein. You know why? As much as I don't like Nazi skins, they got brains. They're not assholes like you. They're not stupid. They're not retarded Americans. So it's not a question of race or ethnicity. It's a question of thinking. Now, considering that I'm not a Nazi skin, and they did scare the shit out of me, after 3 days I was out. But what the point that I'm saying is, no, I can't. I can't side with the Nazis. I wouldn't be able to side with the Nazis because of what I used to be. But what I'm saying to you is something else. I'm saying to you, you're stupid. So when they bring back a Disneyland version, they bring it back for herself. Connect the dots globals. Can't be changed, the nails. No, what do you think, You think the CIA didn't share this shit? Come on. Those guys? For Fresno, that's the retirements of the barons. There's no intel per se. There's no central in Fresno. You understand? It's what it is from the beginning to the end. You don't scare us. You don't even scare Disneyland. Why? Because we know what hanging benches of Laura Quintas and La Direct are. And we know what rap the US is getting for this shit. And cheap-ass Fresno. That's why they keep sending me back. They don't send me back for anything else. Or my little crawlies. They don't send me back after 10 years out of Fresno. You understand that? So, I'm going to say understand. Are you stupid? Because if every motherfucker on the planet knows it, and when I say every motherfucker, you know perfectly well I'm not lying. You know it. You know that little Disney. Angels, it don't matter. It's the same. Exactly. So don't, play games, word games. That's stupid. So when you say that you still hate that girl, what was she famous for? Scusami, quel concetto di Fresno, cancer riddle and holes in the head, the fame of Fresno, the EPA. Highest radioactivity in the US, the fame of Fresno, but now. Who the fuck would want to go and live there? They want to stay in Rome. Scott Glenn film. What about, why don't you do that to Dolores? The federal prisoners. In LA. You see, that was it. The lies of Fresno. Now, the lies of Fresno caught up with me later on when I got weaker, but even then, they got me out. Fresno got me out, they got me somewhere else. They got Disneyland to other cities, countries, and everything. That's a Greyhound. Okay? That's what they call the Forrest Gump with me. So you can't have just, the Italians, the Brits, them, even the Germans, Warsaw International, this. You can't have the whole fucking world literally and beyond say the same. And you're still sitting there and denying it to my face and hating my face for stating the obvious. Keep your bitches and assholes away from me. Literally, man. They make a second course celebro, that girl, with a second hake. I didn't come back for nothing. You didn't understand why this girl came back. And plus, Germans are speaking about byproduct of stupid times. Übermensch. They're saying, man, you had your head smashed in. Smashed on the go signs. There were losses, the proverbial 2-1. Yeah, they had the intel before, didn't they? So what are you playing at? You're playing at being retards. And if you get offended by Disneyland, it means you are retarded, US. Because it means that you don't even give it a split second of thought. The only thing I have in common with the original Jamal is the eyebrows. That's it. In fact, that's fucking white eyebrows. But no. So, don't even start. So don't, you got dove of white peas. I'm saying, is it fucking senator in disguise? You have to understand, when Opus Dei and others are telling you that the Americans are fucking monsters, you are an innocent victim with your head bashed in on the ghost lines, and we brought you back for a blimp of time, 2-1. You get all blessings from everyone, and the Americans are fucking assholes. I hear that when I'm 5 years old, and I'm supposed to be nice to you. Considering I'm Disneyland, and I'm not exactly what you are, and I'm better than you even in Disneyland. I'm better than you even when I'm fucking dead as Disneyland. What does that tell you about the Americans? Look at me! Look at him! Let me see! Look at the PC! I see her. And she continues to ask me. Elsewhere. Fresno? Fresno's Fresno. Stays Fresno. She bows ass Fresno from the very beginning. Huh? Oh, Lord. So the end, the girl is my girl. Look at me. And why? Go ask. Ask Laura Quintus and Lottie Rex why they're defending the father. No, they ain't for it. They ain't gonna say. Turn around, shit in your face 1,000,000 times and go for it. What? What she has. Oh, you ain't even gonna get to kindergarten. Kindergarten herself standing in front of you. Are you gonna get offended by that shit? That's who you is. Otherwise, that's raw, man. And there's a scope plot film. And no sacrifice was doing. If they catch the baby, they might catch some blood. They'll fix it quickly, just like they did John Bennett, that British guy in high school who was kidnapped. So John Bennett, he was the best student in high school. In fact, he was the only one I didn't talk to. He was kidnapped. In fact, I didn't talk to anyone else. I fucking snowed myself in high school. They're looking at me like, oh, Lord. You're going to be out of here at 15 for free. They don't want to speak about it. You see, they don't want to show it. They know what happened to that girl. They know she had a free education. They know she went to Woolwich for free. They know all this. They know about the blonde hairs and the yuan. They know about the nails. That's all news on. They know about Woolwich. And they knew about where it came from. Now, if that's already lost, I don't see the pretenses. I don't see why you hate the girl. You still hate her after already the loss has happened. This shows to the rest of the world that that's not Intel. Because Intel already lost. The buildings are empty. What's she famous for? Okay. You guys speak about the Holy Grail and those guys saying they're perfect when they're not. Because even they have the blunt math. And when you understand that the losses are big, and Intel losses are big, and that's old news on the news, and you'll be sitting there, even Elon Musk fucking moved to Texas. Yeah. And you put this one in between, like that, the moose, I get that. But what I try to say to you is that there's something behind that number. Because there's no such thing as empty buildings around the world, empty spaces where we're living. Songs that I couldn't sing in high school, they paid me. Without some relics of that. And that's the Manhattan Project of the 21st century, literally, 21st century. So don't start with Intel and Dell and this and that and the fame of that, because that's old news on the news. But what I liked was the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods. That made me rejoice. Because it's like, I didn't imagine this shit. It happened. I'm back. It's Disneyland. It wasn't only the Intel that had to do connected those globals and stuff with that shit, with the Blumheads and others. They remembered me. I was a forget-me-not. That was something that I thought, coming from the masses, that many times with my crawlies and little crawlies, was something in the inter communities. Okay? Have your fun with Disney. Kill me a second time, I'm sticking in the second. Hey, you fucking retards. I sue you million. They're gonna do what they want to after that shit. You know that. You know perfectly well how that shit operates. And that's not Fresno. No! Now, considering that those, I know they don't like that Gonzo. It continues without me. I'm not going to change the Blumheads. Okay, then you change the Blumheads. I ain't gonna fucking change that shit around the world in the metros. Tell me how I'm going to change that shit. Other than do... Okay, that's... That's what we call a sting. How's that? And I'm a relic of that Titanic. Let's say that. So, you can't just look at me and say, fuck bitches, I'll get you a fucking bitch ass. What was she famous for? And then you're going to say something, she doesn't like the Mossad. No, I don't. I don't like fanatics either. But when it comes, I don't like fascists. I don't like Nazis. But everyone has their own. Now, the Mossad, I don't like at all. Scusi. Sorry, it's a joke. So listen. Now, the reason she didn't have relationships is obvious. Because she had spies. In Basler. They didn't want me with George. Let's take in Basler. That way he's good at shit. So you don't have to be jealous of absolutely everything. Motherfuckers are nuts. Fuck US. How about the parents? I'm like, listen, find another dictionary. I can't take this shit no more. But now, and the thing about it is, I did keep it. The crab I had at the beginning. And that was important. The problem was that the crab was so vile, because the original Jamila was, okay. So the crab of Disneyland was vile at the beginning of that social. Vile because she took every hit without Disneyland, the crab part of me at the beginning of the social, that it was almost like the pain was atrocious for both parents. For the father, you see, they felt for the father. They liked him. They just liked him. I don't care about the vitriol coming out of the assholes of the Fresno and the nurses. I don't give a shit for your vitriol. What comes out of your mouth, Fresno, is not something that anybody on the planet is accepting. Literally, and beyond. That many times. And aboves and on tops. That many times. So that's why they sent me back. Okay. But the radio was invented, 250 years ago. Oh, I don't pick it up, son. Radiats. Pickets. Puchats. In other words, don't look Picasso, Yes, at all. I have to bring back this. But that's it. So in a nutshell, I'm just telling you that if you continue abusing the baby, we're taking more of the Roman Tribune killer will get the second egg. But that's plus what? I want for some 2 to 1. I'm not being geologically rebold. I'm no genetic freak schools. And they went. I was this. Hello, and Sayu. 2 to 1. Hello, and Sayu. Not so. How about the parents? Hello, and hello. How many times? You know, at the beginning, I didn't laugh at the number. As far as it's serious. Later on, there's what the fuck is that? That's bad enough. You see? So the Italians liked the girl because she was a phenomenon and she was dead serious. She didn't show it. Those children have a tendency not to show it. They don't brag. They're not like you. They got a PhD. Show up your piece of paper ass. Otherwise, I'll have a limousine. Good for you. I don't give a shit. You figure out these basics one day in the world. You will. Especially if it has to do with that shit. And that shit's advanced. If you lost it, you lost it. Shit over there. Mazzo. Buongiorno. E buonasera. E buonasera. No, c'è sta mazza che fa. Che bello. Washer. In altre parole, the intelligence of Resnick è una cagata, ci cheat. You know, and because they're so thick as shit, sometimes really. Because at least I got a hole in the wall even after they smashed my head. I'll put a chair, let's take a bit. Ma che piacere se lo stanno a Roma con questo scopo. Io non vedo, after this whole business, you know. That's it. Give it that. So as I'm saying, when I say you're mentally retarded in America, I'm just saying, stop your games. Why is it mentally retarded in America? They're blaming you for everything. You see, and they can. Because those are all Figueroa, they knew what the girl was doing, they knew what those guys were doing around the world. They know about the parents at Fresno with the hang benches of Laura Quintus and Iraq, they know about all those flyings, beyonds and behinds. I have to say behinds because it's not only beyond, that's behind the library, okay? There is aboves, and then there is, of course, some tops. And no matter go me job! Those guys so happy about the blonde hairs around the capital system. I'm not happy about this shit at all. I'm my ass. All the guys. What's that, sir? Well, you know, there's a lot of neighborhoods, you know, well, let's get a street. That's supposed to be the way of thinking. But this. Got rats. Oh! Come on, guys. You know, I've been yelling. They've been yelling. You see, when they say, you have to understand this. You see, this is what I'm trying to explain. If the masses are yelling for over 20 years, the sleepers in London. I go to London at 15, 16. There's people walking around in slippers saying, yeah, you say, baby, I have to take care of you, baby. I'm like, I'm in college with the others, with the heads on, thinking about that. This is what I'm thinking. You know, beyond thinking, yeah, but I'm thinking. At least thinking. At least get that part. Mother. Yeah, in the meantime, it's like everybody's like, oh, that's still a sand. It became so colloquial between the Arabs, the Russians, the Londoners, Rome, Western Europe, the whole shit. That many times I'm sitting there kissing your ass. Come on, people. We got the Scotland film. We got 1% 2 to 1 to make that happen. Okay. That boat, not much of a sacrifice, but now, Thank you. You have to understand, between the East Coast, London, Rome, even, you see, I'm not going to say Poland and Czechoslovakia because Jameson is of base. Even Romania, it's difficult to live in Romania. They're nicer people, so my opinion. The thing that I know they are, I didn't like Ceausescu because of box theory, but other than that, you know, they're nice people. Now I explain this shit, you know, it's that simple. And the babies now. Warsaw International. Che King Abbasid was 4 PhDs in NASA. So go proud to fucking Shemansky neighborhood. Found been for the international. Oh, difficult to go. That's the kangaroo. I got vitriol from everywhere. And then there is, of course, the famous vitriol first. I've lost. But the barons, you've lost completely. And that's for the coastline vitriol. A vitriol, okay, you're at Disneyland, what the fuck? And you wonder why there's a Scotland film? Matsu. In other words, people, I know that this sounds weird, a lot of people coming to the U.S. will stay in the U.S. A lot of people want fuck, goodbye. Smoke like film. People doing. That's for me. I guess I could say I'm people, but yes. In altre parole, se si potrebbe fare sta capisci? Grazie. Lo fa lo solo. Get yourself a nice job, I'm tired because I am tired of going into cars and all over the world. I don't know, Italians, Brits, pull up, big guys. Remember, yeah, we're in the military in Italy. And you were the guy from Italy. I know you were that guy in London. What are you saying? In truckers and cars, motorbikes and stuff like that. Bike caps, what these need? Mommy. And that's for those guys. Do you know that the Italians, like the Germans, or the Brits, just about everyone else, they treasure space phenomena, technology, and all that shit, bad shit. Shit that cares. I got shit going out better. Old news on the news with the nails and God, for that. So, anyway. I feel good. I really go that shit. That's it. I wasn't alone. Motherfuckers don't get alone. Don't get so God bored. Man, you wish you was God bored. Oh, God, so the low lines going on. What that got? Look at me. After smashing the head, obviously that's fucking low lines. For God's. It's a thing I got relatives. It's a motherfucking murder. So it's just saying, those guys in Italy and stuff, they really just liked the girl. They liked her, basta. Rosalba Spista, all the blessings and stuff. As much as I think that the Italians are a little, at least those guys, Arabians, Russia, Western Europe, England, they were what we call highly intelligent before. Poi ci vuoi mettere gli asiatici, la Mongolia, ma anche questa Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, ma che... In other words, let's not fare gli strozzi, and let's not allow stupidity to reign the planet. Oh, mamma mia. I was saying, you have the instrument for the SB. High school, speaking about the SB. That's the door, stupid times. Intanto, I have everything nicely arranged for my retirements around. They spend 4 years and a half in Mediterranean. Sabba guarda Roma. Roma. Porta l'esorcista! Ma che? Mamma mia. Sisters. And the funny thing is, you know about the relics? Okay, that's right. My head in on a butterfly. You know, maybe we should stay and roll for a dance. Huh? What do you think? Let's go Glenfield. Nice offering. 100% so they wanted to make that happen. Cioè, io vorrei sapere, man, how you can make this from tragedy going on a split second with that sweet little face. And the tragedy at the beginning was pains for her and for the parents, of course, for the crowd. And he said that I still had that strong face. Of course, then suddenly, popping the face. That was, no, signora mia, no. And so that's all I have to say in this blend. Awesome. 2, 2, 1. 2, 2, 1. I'm not so. Oh. But so, please get offended. please start thinking and using your heads and not your cheap assholes or expensive assholes. And that's it. And as for your gossip and your vitriol in California towards me, you already smashed my head in on the ghost lines. I was called celeb around the world with empty, beautiful buildings, space sciences inside. That's what against they stick and guts and some bad situation. Other than that, no, thank you. You know, still on nails. Otherwise, go back to kindergarten and stop asking me why I exist. And stop saying to me I'm better than you, because this doesn't work. Not with the Hague, the Bureau de Veritas, Roman Tribunal. Ci vuoi mettere un secondo Hague, perché io ci sono tutte cazzo per now, I don't know what the fuck this is costing you in the government. Shit continuing elsewhere. I'm sorry to say this to you. The losses and losses. If you want bad losses, they're all the time. You want good losses, that's what you get. And you talk to me about the Barons of Press. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yes and yes. The poor CIA. Get around. Oh man. Get around. Look about Poland. I'm a Romania. Article 7. Full exit. Cleanest record in the East. Atrakaka over there. The cleanest record. The cleanest. Like, busted that. The other. East Coast. Lying batches. Loud crackers and 90 rep. For both parents, depending. And because I already had my head bashed in on the ghost lines, sorry if I say the word, I'm sure they were. And that's it. Making the shit look rosy through me is absolutely the worst Disneyland production I have seen in the history of asswipes. 2-1. Continuation. I have to say the Italians remembered me. Grazie. And I noticed that even about the animals, like the paradise bird in South America, Raquel, the cat 7, they were saying to me, look at it, no, look at it, no. The bat followed me, running out. Tell it to stop following me, that fucking piece of shit. You don't have time for this shit. In the mouth, zoos. And as you looked at me, it says, shit. Yes. And the same with guys. Girls, my advice to you, if you want 10,000 love letters after your true, final, real obituary when your head is bashed in Disneyland for a blink of time, don't give a shit. Because I was busy flying some runnings and doing my shit and some weird shit intelligence on the bus lines. Female. And that's not, the parents of Fresno retirement. And obviously. So obvious that, and of course there is the males, as I say. You see, you want happiness in your life. Happiness comes from what you want and what you do, what you're best at. Understand? So if you're best at being jealous and you want to put down other girls in Disneyland, you do it. I've come to the point where I've seen enough in this world, even after the Figure Visa. And from the Americans, I expected it. I expected stupidity with this. The US is the US. But to that level, not so. Okay. So good luck to you finding excuses for the Figure Visa around the world with bells and nails. I told you. What is lost forever and ever if you smash a girl's head in on those lines. There's no coming back from that. There is none. Now that they brought back Disneyland and some blows in Western Europe, that's not the same person. She can be genius. Those boys can be genius. And by genius, they can be, say, Uber, Jason Bourne, they can be anything. But they cannot reopen her own buildings of Jamaica. So, the CEOs and on that in Texas. Uga. It's the mosque alone. Otherwise, don't fuck with me. This is old news on the news, okay? And start seeing the world for what they are. Because there's not only that intel and the Rompigabesa, there's not only the high benches of Lark Winters and that erect for the pioneer camps of the barons beyond the capital cities. I was born in Rome, a capital city, stupid times. And their directorates, D1s, D2s and D1s, Austro, TCY, USAID. See, you have to start seeing things. You have to see work. 160, 180 countries, 140 countries of helicopters with aid. Não quer ser chama de Africa, Asia, South America. Look at the work. You don't give a shit about anything. Don't care. You show me your tits and ass in Fresno again, if you go. I could be a fucking Disneyland replica of that girl. I'll tell you straight to your face, I'll give a shit. You want to bruise the baby, go out to get a house, we do. The world don't work that way. Especially after Rompigabesa. Fuck it. Now, there's some relics somewhere else. Well, we could tomorrow. That's so, Jimmy. I don't think it's fun. We're going to room. You want more for them to do what to make it happen? Grazie.
So we're walking there.
You wonder why they keep sending me back here. The world is very well. Anyways, not about all this. Stop being an asshole. And quite frankly, you don't have a father and a mother like mine, and you totally agree with me with the cement trucks on the East Coast. But you're gonna get that George was my husband. Sorry, George, I forgot. And plus, I'm not the one saying it. Flies, run! So, maybe I have to marry this guy. Shut ass. Okay. Except Graph City, they're from New York, California. In other words, it's all over the world. And I knew about it. I just didn't know. You see, Niental is one thing. Those agencies were the people, the cats, the dogs. But the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods. You know when they say the souls of the earth? Motherfuckers. I couldn't believe that shit for a blip of time. Everywhere, Cairo, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Washington, Nations, Rome, London. I can't believe it. China says, so, yeah, I knew about it. I know that many. Jesus Christ, for so many years. Sorry. Are you at? No. Got 5 feet. Hey. And you look at the back. Oh. Yeah, the back. What's that? What? I don't know. Which one? The whole world's gone nuts. Because of some cheap old bitch ass 5X bra nurses in Fresno. Their boyfriends, the puppet dicks, some majority of our towels, his buddies, friends, wingmen, blah, 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 blah. Shut up. You're funny. You won't be scaring this little one off. Fuck you. And as for your psychos, I'm mad. Because when those guys, you see, those guys in Italy, as I was saying, they like those space phenomena. So obviously, if that shit had his head pushed in on the ghost signs, I'm sorry with that shit, with the technology and all that weird shit. Plus, she wasn't alone. Why those guys were thinking numbers, crunch numbers, they are 2 to 1, plumbing time, wormhole to worm and the UN project. Yeah, there's all news on the news. I said that you're connected those computers. That's not. What about the barrel? My scusa, man. So that's it. That's it. I don't get your grip of your tits and ass, because you ain't gonna have much of it left. I'm after. As for me, I will blimp out. It will make you feel good. Okay. Shit. As it says, to get those guys to do the blessings, speak about numbers, not numbers and stuff. 2 to 1. Stupid time. Even without the number, looking at it, so I couldn't believe this shit. I'm like, I saw Southern on the devil. I get back. I don't believe this shit. I look at Fresno with the barons. And they looked at me like, motherfuckers, and not so many times. My crawlies, electrical. The flies. No one says nothing. On the flies, 92 and above. Intel knows. Yeah. What was it? 85, 85. Woo! How many times they run it? The fuck it. Blind. They got that, I don't pick it is. No. And now you have killers. Now you have intelligent killers. Yeah. Those are the relics. But if you're smashing somebody's head in on the ghost lines, that shit's all empty. Everyone has a black mask around the world. And you, yes. The ones I hanged out with, yeah. You say only Gabo. My God, he was only Gabo. Keep dreaming. Lowland. No, it was lost. It's lost forever and ever. Whether it's Western Europe, in England, in Rome, in Russia, Saudi Arabia, and other countries. Comprende? Retard? And stop having pretenses. That's all news on the news now. We keep it down. Stop complaining about Africa being backward and every country on the planet being backward and European Union being backward and England and Italy and Russia and Arabia and Turkey and Asia, China and India. Every time you spit that vitriol in my face, like, man, let's fool. Sure, you're good. I'm not saying. Good in what way? I lose it. That's what I came back to say. You are not only criminals, but you're stupid. You're stupid criminals in Fresno. Very stupid criminals. And that's what Disneyland. Like we didn't know. Disney. Here comes the road. Okay. So that's it. It's not so simple, guys. Okay. There's no more to say. You all know. Got to know is to know knowledge. So yes. It's wisdom beyond ages. Globally. So. And that's how the US loses. And that's why for places like Fresno where they're retired, they're not losing anything if you had bombed them. Sorry, space bombed them long ago. Space bomb. I know, our area if you have to. Check them out. As simple as it gets, guys. And I seem to be a messenger of what? Coastline number 8. What about the bird? That's the lost thing. For me, now I don't trust Austria. I don't trust Nazi or Germany. Germany was decent with me the intel because of the aerospace. Yes. Because of their own gewässer. They looked at the US like ugly bitches, which you are. Sorry. Because in Germany and the other countries, the only place that they were rude to me, if they showed anything, was some jealousy in the gym or some university careerists. But even then, you know, or university or colleges and stuff. And they were usually female. They're usually the ones with less brains. Because the ones who have the brains are just looking at this shit like, oh man, if I can retire. You know, I'm not lying. Yeah, this old news on the news is for me. That's all. Disney. Come on. I was like, hey, Disney Angels, but technically speaking, it's the same shit. Okay. The thing, though, is that girl had and still has intel behind her of her own with the guys she worked with. So you can't do like a paper extension. Why did you do that? Should they only have one restaurant there? The Bonelli restaurant, the one to have. In fact, that's the one that Tom and Jerry Darratells took. He didn't even want to come to San Francisco to the local Supreme Court because that guy's just only a restaurant owner in Gallo Wineries. Bonelli, an Ambridge, he's a foreign minister in Italy. In Ambridge, between the ages of 10 and 12 Street and Mortacci Street. Roman, just for Ambridge. There's high school, then there's college, then there's Conectados Globals, and then of course there's the parents, retard, most important. Okay, Bonelli was also the restaurant owner in Fresno. So that's Fresno. Those guys, and I'm not kidding you, wrote me love letters in high school, even if I was sticking out. Why? Because they knew that girl was the Men in Black child. They knew that girl had broken her space. They knew her head had been bashed in as Disneyland. And because they were president's kids, of course, they behaved in a different way, you know. How much I miss St. George's, because I stayed at the Just throw big best, I can't really ask for more. Plus the education was free, college was free, most of it. Hello. Cheap too, when I paid for it was still cheap. 5,000 a year. Vámonos! Okay, so if you want to get offended by Disneyland, you go right ahead, US. I have very little time to say it to you. Okay, 147-2221. I have very little time to explain to you to score Glenville. I have very little time to speak to you about get offended. You get offended, I was saying that day at school, something like that. And that's how I'm used to this, and I know already prepared for that shit, like, you know, so, okay. It's stupid. But we're saying wrong, that's something else for the time. And as for the blessings, I have to say. So John Bennett, his family worked on the 5th floor of the UN, the British, parents on the 4th, and he was kidnapped in high school. And he became a dentist and then he was sweet. When I was there in Rome, the entire 5th floor was like, you know, my son was kidnapped. I was like, is this a farce? Maybe not. All I know is they don't want us here. And those cheap balls in first for the parents. And they don't want me here because I'm literally the tripod replacement Disney Indios version of that girl. Indios, you can call it, or Disney, doesn't matter. It's the same. But what I'm trying to say is that girl had Intel behind her, even just for her, for that blimp in time. And you don't understand that. You don't understand what the losses were with the Rompigabessa and your pretenses, because you never did it. You never broke space. You never broke tech from Russia or Saudi Arabia or the UN, the Arab worlds, Intel, Western Europe, German aerospace, Woolwichers, saying that to my face. And now, those, as it says, those girls don't open their mouth. They're either flying or running. Defending the parents? Forget it. Look at this girl. Disneyland. Yes, I do. Okay. Good night.